be an educator, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about the person that you're teaching or the people that you're teaching.
It's not enough just to learn or take the information. You know, you have to know how to retain it and maximize it.
I did start it from a passion aspect, but then I found myself having all these business conversations. Alright guys, welcome to the Network by Area Academy podcast. My name is Eoin McCarthy.
My name is Leigh Winsor.
And we are hair technicians at Area Academy. The purpose of this podcast is to support a new concept of ours at Area Academy called the Network. The Network is going to be an online education platform with a subscription-based model where we're going to be putting up multiple resources. It's a resource library more than anything else. It's going to have weekly tutorials for haircuts. We're also going to have stuff like business training, media training, all sorts of useful information for the hair professional, I guess. With this podcast, for me personally, I think we have a lot of deep conversations and good conversations that we wish were recorded, and that was the purpose of setting this up in the first place. Would you agree?
100%, yeah.
And I feel like it's a good thing for us to try and target just the regular listener too, not just the hair professional. I think I would like to say our clients could be able to listen to this and get some value from it, because it's not necessarily just about hair. It's going to be all about life and our experiences in life, and even the guests that we eventually get on, it'll be about their experiences as well.
I think that's great. Exactly what we want to do. Make it accessible and available to everybody. Give you a little insight into the way that we think about things. We don't just think about hair all the time. Most of the time.
And I think that's it. Like, it's just insightful information and value. Like, we just want to bring as much value as possible. When we have these great conversations, I almost feel like there's a part of me that wishes somebody else could listen in. And take away, I guess, our learnings from our life. Like, we've gone through some of the struggles, and if we can help people not go through that same struggle just by sharing some information, then that would be the main goal. Really.
That's it, isn't it? I think these conversations are great for that. It doesn't mean it's always right, but there could be a little ounce of gold in there that you'd take away from it and be like, aha, that's one of those moments where it just changes your trajectory sort of forever. Definitely.
So first and foremost, Area Academy. Let's talk about Area Academy, what it is. So Area Academy is the child, I guess, of Area Studio.
The baby.
The little baby, the newly born baby of Area Studio. So Area Studio is a barbershop in Melbourne CBD in Melbourne, Australia. The shop's been around for about 5 years, roughly, just over 5 years. I've been there for nearly the whole time. I got to Area 6 months into it being open, so I've kind of seen it from the start, seen it grow. I guess to talk a little bit about the journey so far and how we got it to be an academy. I started at Area in 2016. 2017, the opportunity started to come in pretty quick. We started doing some competition work, stuff like that. I was very lucky to be surrounded by an amazing team that allowed me, I guess, grow at a rapid rate. And we always talk about that, being around the good kind of mentors, never being surrounded by bad mentors. So I was around Danny, Jordan, Aloy at the time.
Amazing.
It was crazy. What a crazy team. Like, I was seeing haircuts leaving the shop that time that to me were only possible on Instagram,
I said that when I first got to Area. I remember when George was working there, the young apprentice at the time, and he'd be watching Jordan cut hair, and I was just looking at him. I thought you could only Photoshop haircuts like that. And then you'd see them leave the shop, so it just blew my mind. It was crazy.
For sure. So for me, 6 months into the brand and the birth of the brand, I guess I was only about a year into my career at that time. And for me to be surrounded by them guys at that time was just perfect for the trajectory. get that word out.
Get that one out.
Of my career path,
Yeah.
and yeah, look, everything just kind of transformed from there. I think we always bring it back to Hair Expo in 2017. That's when things really started to kind of, the pieces of the puzzle started to align. It was like you got the outside of the puzzle, you know. We started to put the last pieces on.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, now we can start filling it in.
Yeah.
So we went there. This is, I guess, a little insight into how the academy came about and how Leigh joined the team as well. I'll let you tell your part in a sec, but we went to Hair Expo 2017. And this were putting together an education team at the time, the first one in Australia ever. We all got invited to interview for it, and that's how I kind of started in my hair education journey. I was only cutting hair for about a year and a half at the time, and then I was just given this label of
amazing global
educator and this.
But that's
this is wild, right?
I think that's one of the cool things, breaking those norms.
Yeah, that's questioning the blueprint in itself,
challenging the blueprint, and the status quo. I think that's something we talk about all the time. There has been, it's come up in conversation a bit lately, what should be done and stuff like that, but I guess the time in your career and how long things take, and you can only be an educator after X amount of time. Yeah, that might have been once upon a time, but now I think we're coming into a time where you can really challenge the status quo. All things being well, like you said, you're around great mentors, and that's exactly what you need to see from day one, is being thrown right in with great mentors, and that sets you up to share that knowledge. I think one of the cool things that I noticed, when I saw you sort of doing all that stuff, is there's an element of riding or catching the wave right at the right time. I think barbering was on such a turn, and you had the drive, the knowledge around you, and maybe a little bit of what's the naivety? You could just being just go into it and be like,
I don't know the industry.
Go in.
I wasn't scared of the industry.
You weren't scared, exactly, because you didn't have anything kind of built.
There's no preconceived ideas. I literally came from a completely different background, so
exactly
no preconceived ideas. I just took it for what it was.
That almost, I don't know what the word is for it. It's almost not like blind luck, but something like that. You go in with no preconceived ideas. It's like, boom, why can't I do this?
You just take it for what it is.
I think all those things coming together, as someone sort of looking at it from the outside, is quite incredible, really.
I think for me, when I started, I guess, educating, I always looked at it like, okay, I haven't learnt this so long ago, so I kind of prided myself on the relatability factor, and I never made out like I knew more than what I did. I always just was straight up from the beginning. This is what I know. It might not be right, it might not be wrong, but it works for me, and it at the time, and still now, it's still working.
I was going to say, we still do that now.
It's still,
we
still
never
works.
go into a class and be like, this is exactly it, because we say that we've got the relative truths and the absolute truths, right? We talk about that a lot in our classes, but essentially most of what we do is relative truths. We it can be changed. It's not always exactly the truth. There's many ways. We had this conversation earlier off camera. There's so many ways to skin a cat.
For sure, and that's in any industry, really. There's no way, there's no reason why you can't go into anything these days and just make your mark. The platforms are there. The opportunities are there. If you look for them and you have the balls to do it. I think that's probably
do you think that's what changed it? The change of platforms and the way people got it? Because I remember when I started doing hair, to be, I guess, a figure or someone in education or someone like that, you really had to be somebody and be picked up by a big brand company or a big brand, and it was like the superstar. You're like, whoa, how did they get there? And nobody really knew how. You didn't really know how to get there. How did you do it?
I know. I think it's interesting because our stories are so I guess we're so like-minded, but our stories are so far away at the same time as well. So you're 16 years, correct me if I'm wrong, into your career.
16 years
and
this year.
I'm 6 years, so it's there's that 10-year gap, but a lot happens in 10 years. So me, coming into the industry from my background as a cyclist, it's completely blind. My mom's had a salon. I've watched her go through her whole career with her salon, but without even knowing that there's other opportunities in hair. Like, I never even opened my mind enough to look at that, because I was so one-track minded. I had the blinkers on when I was a cyclist. I was just focused on cycling, so I never even opened my mind to the fact that, like, you know, as a hairstylist or a hairdresser, you can do all these crazy things and connect to so many different industries. So yeah, I guess the naivety did help me to a degree, and just not really giving a fuck, you know. If it went wrong, if it went right, who cares? Even doing this today, it's like, we're here doing a podcast. It's the first time we're ever doing it. Look, to be honest, we've done the lives before. You know, anyone who's watched our lives, we've kind of got used to, I guess, being on a stage. Like, this is essentially being on a stage. You're talking, you're connecting, you're sharing your insights. And I think on this particular platform, the podcast, this is where we're going to share.
I think this is where we can exercise that the most.
We can get into our mindset properly.
Something I was going to say, you know, to what you're saying then, is like, it's something that what you just said is something that took me a long time to work out. Is not giving a shit. That took me a long time to do that.
Once it clicks, though, you can't go back.
No, and sometimes
it's like a transformation journey.
Sometimes I feel bad about it. You know, but then you just got to keep reminding yourself, like, you got to let that old person go. You know, so it took me such a long time to do that, and I guess that's a personality thing, and that's deep seated, you know, from being a youngster. But amazing. Like, I think that's where, you know, our personalities are quite similar, yet there are fundamental differences. I definitely see, and like one of those, that's one of yours. It's just like, I don't care. I'm just doing it. You know, take on that.
No, I'm like,
you know, like, I so probably funny. Struggle with that a little more.
Like, I say some shit, like, and I just act immediately, and then just pick the pieces up if they fall, you know. It's like, I'll say something, all right, like, we're doing the podcast like next week, you know. I'll go pick up the microphones yesterday, like the day before, and it's like, here we are, you know, doing it. And like, that's the thing, I just have a really good way of visualizing stuff, and like, I can reverse engineer things really well, and it does probably come from my cycling days, like, knowing whether or not a goal is feasible and it's doable. For me, this is a lot, everything we're doing in the hair industry, to me, is a lot easier than what I've done in the past. So it's kind of like, that's taught me not to give a shit either, because I put my whole life, as much effort as possible as I could into cycling, and it just didn't work.
That's interesting. I'm thinking about that as you're explaining that. Like, there's something in what you were doing, and like, I can kind of relate to that one man sport. I know you're in a team, but like, it's just you on that bike.
Oh, it's up to you,
and you blinkers on, and you gotta go. You know, and you can't give a shit about the noise around you. You know, like, you gotta go. Obviously, pay attention a tiny bit to who's around you. You know what you're doing, where you're going. But I think it's you and the blinkers on. But I've been kind of similar, like, I mean, we've had these chats before, like, about, I played a lot of sport growing up as well, not quite to your level, but, you know, close enough to national standard. But I always found myself, even though I played in team sports, always found myself tunnel vision. And that sometimes it was a blessing, depends who I was around. Sometimes that's a blessing, sometimes that was my curse. You know, sometimes they were like, Lee, you need to be more of a team player, but someone else would be in my ear saying, nah, keep doing what you're doing, you know. And I think that's where, like, that competitive streak comes out in me. I can do both. I think I'm probably better at putting the blinkers on, but I can, you know,
can do both.
Can do both.
And like, for me, with cycling, I was just meticulous in my approach to training, because I knew that I wasn't the most talented cyclist, and I know that I'm not the most talented hairdresser or barber either, but I know if one thing that's a fact is I will work harder than 99% of people, and that's just the facts, and I know I'm okay with that. Like, I used to love the training aspect of cycling. Like, I could follow my program to a T, and I wouldn't, if it was raining, I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be out there doing it. I wouldn't wake up and think, oh, it's raining, I have 3 hours to do on my program on the bike today. I'm just gonna leave it off, you know. Next week I'll do that, or tomorrow, you know, because that could be the difference then between me getting a result or not getting a result. And I don't want to be sitting there after a race in a couple of months and thinking, oh, what if I just did that? Because you just do that once. It's a habit forming thing.
Yeah.
You do that once, it's easy to say it again.
Which is easy to do that as well.
Because you'll say, what's 2 times? You know? And then 2 times turns into 10 times. And then one of my goals used to be always to, like, I read a book when I finished school and I started cycling. I read a book from an ex-pro, and he said, start of my season, every season, I always put down as one of my goals to just finish every race. Doesn't matter what the result is, just finish. Yeah. Because once you create that bad habit of not finishing, then you're fucked. That's pretty amazing. Much. And it's like the same thing now. Like, I'll finish things, I'll do something, I'll finish it. That's why the last lockdown really kind of affected me. Right before we had the plans put in place to start filming for the podcast and for the platform, putting the tutorials together. Everything was in place, and then 2 days before, boom, locked off. Having to contact that many people, rearrange everything. It just got me that time of all times.
Look, it took me a couple of days to resurface for sure. I remember we were back and forward on the text messages, like,
you alright?
Yeah, you alright, mate?
How are you doing?
You've been a bit quiet for a couple of days. Like, nah, I'm down. But like that's such an amazing thing to train your brain. I guess that's, you know, part of everything is what everything that I do is just constantly trying to reiterate those things that I've done and the way that I train my brain, the way I think about things. But, you know, I guess I can relate that to, you know, bodybuilding days. You know, I spent 7 years day in, day out bodybuilding. You know, like eating the meals around the clock, training day in, day out, sticking to the schedule, doing the reps and sets, doing the cardio, you know. And then when it comes to prep time for a competition, that was the same attitude. That, like, there was a saying going around, you know, no stone unturned. You know, like, you can't turn up to a comp and you know, if you win and you've done everything you're supposed to do, you can take the trophy and be like, yes, I'm the best. But if you don't win and you've still done everything, you can be like, okay, I'm just not good enough. But it wasn't for the lack of trying. But if you didn't win and you didn't do the cardio, even if you missed one session, you'd be like, well, could have been that cardio session, you know. And that, I think that's where I developed that. So from like the age of like 20, 21, you know, probably when I come to Australia, I really got into like the fitness and bodybuilding stuff, and then getting into it competitively just taught me that.
It's like a no excuse mentality.
No excuses, and I've always been pretty hard on myself.
Yeah,
I think.
Me too. Well, if you didn't know, anybody who's listening, we have the same birthday, me and Lee. So we're both Virgos. We should have called it the Virgo podcast. We're both Virgos. We had the same birthday, so I think it kind of comes within our personality a little bit. And I think it's like that. Like I said something to Hannah recently. I was like, to make an excuse is to miss an opportunity. You know, if you're looking for an excuse, you're gonna miss an opportunity. 100%. So just don't make the excuse. Just take the opportunity. Go for it. Like,
exactly.
That's exactly, you know, what we did, I guess, with Area Academy. We saw an issue, I guess, within the industry that needed solving. You know, there was a gap, there was a space there. You know, I wouldn't say we weren't happy with the standards of training, but we couldn't really employ anybody to add to the team due to their skill set not being up to scratch.
Straight out of trade school.
So it was just like they just weren't up to scratch. So it's like, okay, well, there's an issue here, and if we're not part of solving the issue, then we're actually part of the issue as well. Because everyone's just going to have that bystander effect. Everyone's just going to point the finger and say, we'll leave it up to them, or we'll leave it up to them.
I used to try and be really careful of how you say that, but, you know, because there could be a lot of assumption in it. Like, but I remember when, you know, we first said that, it's like, if you're not trying to fix the problem, you're part of the problem. But that's, you know, I think if you can't, then you can't complain and not try and fix it, you know. If you don't care, then it's totally fine, you know, let it happen. Then you don't have to be part of fixing the problem, because you're actually just fine with it, you know. But we found ourselves, and this is coming from a place of like really trying to dig into why we think this way. We might not have shown it, but we clearly had a bit of an issue. You know, like you say, it's not like it was terrible, but
it wasn't keeping us up at night, you know.
But you clearly had an issue with it, so we've thought, okay, we have to try and help it.
And I think, look, it's only going to benefit us. Like, you know, we get asked that the thing about competition a lot, and I think you know, it's a really interesting one, because I listened to a podcast recently. You know, I listened to one of Stephen's podcasts. I think it was with Johan Hari.
Yeah.
And he's an author, and he writes, and he's just
Amazing.
crazy. But
if anyone wants some great life-changing material, check out Johan Hari.
Yeah,
he will
amazing.
Change your life.
But Stephen went straight in, like he's so good with the questions. He went straight in and he was like, so why do you write, you know? Why do you write? And for me, like, it's like, why do we do what we do with hair? And it might sound selfish, but like, I initially started teaching hair because I wanted to learn hair.
Yeah. When I heard him say that, I thought of you straight away. Because I've heard you say it from day one.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you say it.
Yeah, I'm like, if I teach it, then I'm going to learn it twice, 3 times, 4 times, to the point now where I've just developed an understanding of some things without even really being told exactly this is how it should be or whatever, because I don't have any formal training. That's what I find funny. I'm in these conversations now with the Australian Hairdressing Council, talking about different topics and helping the industry grow and change, but like, I've never had any formal training myself. Yeah. So it's interesting to kind of be in that situation.
But again, that's not necessarily bad, is it? Because again, it's about the mentors that you're around, you know, the people that you're around. You never had bad mentors, you know. If you did, it'd be a different story.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, and it's interesting, and it's like, I guess the main thing, and I think about why, you know, so like for us with Area Academy, we always come back to the why, and the why in what we do for the academy is, look, we teach like unconventional ways of thinking about men's hair and our approach, but my personal why is to share my mindset with other people, to give them the personal like self-belief that they can also do the stuff that I've done, you know, in that short space of time. You don't have to be cutting hair for 20 years to be allowed to go on stage, you know, or like whatever it may be. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to do anything. Like, that's why I'm so interested to see Stephen on Dragon's Den. Like, I'm so interested. So like Stephen Bartlett, the guy that we always talk about, like Diary of a CEO, it's like one of my favorite podcasts, if not my favorite. But he's going on Dragon's Den, and like he's just going to be such an objective thinker. Like, he's going to be thinking way differently from that rigid and stiff fixed mindset. It's the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, you know, like that kind of stuff. And that's a whole topic for itself. Look, I think we don't need to get too sidetracked in the introduction episode.
We could go on forever.
But like, let's move on from it, right? We'll keep some of that stuff for a later podcast. I think, you know, we have definitely a lot to talk about, but let's talk about the network for a minute and what the network is, because people are probably thinking, oh, what's this, the network?
What is this thing?
And where was that born from? I guess, look, for us, taking it online was always going to be an option. It was just a matter of when. I think when we started Area Academy, the plan was year 1, reputation building year. We'll just get our name out there. We'll do as much in-person education as we can, see where it goes, and then we'll take it from there. So the platform came about a little bit, I guess, it's like a premature birth, slightly, because we've had to, because of the pandemic. It's kind of like...
I love anytime we talk about this. I think, you know, month to month, it just looks different every time, doesn't it? You know, I guess where we're going, what we're doing. You know, if you said to me, day 1, could I see this?
Yeah.
I could, because there's always dreams of been doing stuff like this, but would we be here at this moment in this time? I don't know, because it's amazing where the road kind of pushes you and takes you. Yeah. And I guess like that's...
It's catching the wave again.
That's just what this is. We're adapting with it. Yeah.
And just surfing.
You know, okay, we might have had different plans, but now...
You have to adapt.
We're adapting with it, and I think that's this has become, now we've seen this is very important now. This is the important work that we need to do. It has to be done.
This is the way of reaching people when we can't go and travel and reach people.
That's essentially what it is, right?
So like, the network is going to be Area Academy on a computer, trying to make it as interactive as possible. I think the community aspect of it is really important to us.
It's paramount.
So it's kind of built off 7 pillars. The 7 pillars are, of course, education. So education is going to be uploaded on a weekly basis. We're going to be putting out hair tutorials, and then there's going to be multiple resources available with education, like access to our digital lectures, access to consultation training, like all sorts of stuff, like really getting into the nitty gritty and technical aspects of hair, as well as the easy stuff to do on a day-to-day basis. In terms of education as well, we are planning to go live every week from our private groups for members only. So like the members of the network can be in like a private Facebook group just for members, and once a week we're going to go live. That live is either going to be very planned and executed to perfection, or as close to perfection as possible, or we're going to just go spontaneous and just go in the shop and show you what it's like in 45 minutes in the shop. So real time haircuts.
I think that's important.
I think it is important. I think people are shocked actually sometimes. Because there's one like I say this at the beginning of every workshop that we do, and you hear me say it's like it's no good me showing up and taking 2 hours to do a haircut and making it like as perfect as I can, perfect in inverted commas, because it's just unrealistic. People aren't going to go back and do that in their own shop.
It's not, you can't, it doesn't translate, does it?
It just doesn't translate to the shop floor, no. So like I think keeping the realism in the education is really important, but like look, there's going to be something for everybody, and I think, you know, no matter what stage you're at your career, I can watch somebody do 2 back and sides and square the neckline up at the back, and I can still learn something. That's the mindset that we have, right? We can always learn something. Always. So like whether you're looking at one of our haircuts that has 10 different sections, or you're looking at something that is very basic and has no sectioning, you're going to take something away from every single haircut. And we have got an amazing team. I hope some of the other boys will really share some of their knowledge as well.
Might take a bit of encouragement, but
we'll get them there though. Once it's online, they see it, they'll want to get involved for sure. Mikey's been hitting me to say he wants to show some stuff, so
great.
That's cool. So that's one of the pillars. Who?
The Fade Master.
Mikey. That's it. I thought you were talking about yourself. Or the Andes Clipper.
No.
I thought you were talking about a bit of product placement. So that's one of the pillars, education. The second pillar, community. So the community is going to be built again, like in them private Facebook groups, the Telegram groups. The members will have access to exclusive content that
I think it's cool there as well. They can have a little bit of a nudge on sort of what we do too, you know?
Like an insight into if the BTS.
And if you really, there's something that you really want to know or really want us to make, you know, that's where you can put those
you have input.
You kind of have input to what we do, and
it's not just us making it.
And be like, this is what you have to watch, you know. So I think that's a really cool part of that as well.
And I think, you know, going BTS on photo shoots and stuff, like just going live when we're on a photo shoot and just being like, this is what we're up to today. Anyone got any questions? Blah blah blah. Doing polls when you're in them community groups, like the Telegram group, for example. We'll be putting up polls where people can vote on what hair tutorial they want to see next. We'll give them some options, whatever it may be. Look, there's exclusive benefits to being part of the community, and I think, look, even just connecting with like-minded people, you know, like that's why we called it the network in the first place. I think just connecting with people who are on the same wavelength as you,
about that,
and like opening up discussions and conversations with the people on the platform, because this is for, like, I think what most people forget about when they educate, and this is a bomb here.
Go on.
What most people forget when they educate is, to be an educator, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about the person that you're teaching or the people that you're teaching.
Amen.
Too many people are making it this fucking celebrity game. And look, we've probably got painted with that brush too from time to time. But it's not about you. It's about the person that absorbs the information.
Amen.
Like, and having the emotional intelligence to realize that. And to be able to read your audience. It's like being a DJ. You can't just go in and play whatever fucking music you want. It has to be the right music for the right venue.
And you got to change it
at the right time. So like, and you have to be able to read that and act on the spot. So like, this is for the people. That's why the community is so important. You know.
You just first rule of public speaking. You know, learn to read your crowd. That you pick up any public speaking book. That's exactly what they say.
There's no template way to do it either. You know.
And I think something that we pride ourselves on, is just giving everything. And we just don't really hide anything, do we?
No, nothing. So yeah, look, that's something that is always mistaken. I feel, like that it's for them. It's for people, and for their own personality, or it's like an ego stroking kind of exercise for people. But it's not always done with the right intent.
No.
And look, of course, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I hate people who say, "Oh, I do it for nothing," because I won't do it for nothing.
No.
Like, you have to be like any other job. It's like, just because you love cutting hair doesn't mean you don't want to get. I'm not going to charge any of my clients because I just love cutting hair.
Yeah.
Like, it's
that's a really interesting one. I've thought about that a lot over my career, and I've heard different people talk about it, and everyone's in a different space. But I do cringe sometimes when people are like, "Oh, I just love making the person feel good," and I love making. It's like, think about what you're saying though. That's egotistical. Why do you like making them feel good? Because it's the response that you get. It feeds your ego. You're like, yes, I did it. So I've had to get really honest with myself. Why do I do this, and why do I like doing it? Yes, it's to help other people, but there's also part of me that I'm trying to help at the same time. It feeds me, and it helps feed other people.
So like, look, that's why the community aspect of the network is so important to us. Just having an opportunity to be honest and open. I think the podcast is going to open us up more than anything ever has. I think
you might agree with some stuff, you might not.
Yeah, and I think, look, I just want to
that's
show
the beauty of it though.
I just want to show our personality though, like, and not without any restrictions. Like, who cares, man? And that's what, when people come to our workshops, that's generally the response we've got. Like, oh, you're a lot different than what I thought you were going to be. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just fucking the exact same as you, doing the exact same thing. We're all working towards the same goal, just in a slightly different way. There's no hierarchy. There's no, like, we're here, you're there. Like, it's just, we're all trying to do the same thing at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So the community goes from community. We can go to entertainment next. I guess some of that will kind of cross over into the entertainment side of things. We'll definitely have some fun type videos. I guess this is a form of entertainment as well, the podcast. Maybe some video stuff, some highlights of like events that we go to, or like day in the life type of things. And where we just get, like, somebody might follow us while we go to Hair Expo or Hair Festival or whatever. Media, I think media is a massive side of our industry. That's one of the pillars as well.
Huge.
The media aspect is going to cover photography, videography, how to set up yourself online, your Instagram profile, how to maximize and optimize all of those things, and talking about, I guess, your branding, your image. Branding.
I think it's something that we do focus on a bit, don't we?
Yeah, everything has a similar feel.
Yeah, like
from day one, I think that culture was almost a bit set at Area. Like,
and I think I definitely kind of aspired to get that aesthetic, and to move towards that. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's done a lot of favors. So we can definitely help with all that stuff. So like, so important.
Within each of these pillars on the website, we're going to have like subsections that will have videos for all of this stuff. So talking about your Instagram, how to build your following, how to take photos, how to edit photos, what equipment you should be using, all this stuff is going to be covered underneath media. Business is another side of things. When we all enter the I guess, industry, not knowing that we're getting into a businessman's type role. Like when I started the academy, I did start it from a passion aspect, but then I found myself having all these business conversations, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm a business owner now type of thing, whereas like you're not really sometimes prepared for that, and you don't have the information that you need to maximize your business. So like we're going to share our knowledge and our expertise that we've built up over the years, things like consultation with your clients, how that's going to maintain a clientele, how to build a clientele, how to curate your ideal working situation. I think very, very important.
I love that. Love it.
And even like down to things like what booking system you should use, or like whatever it may be. It will just be multiple business, I guess, focused content in that section of the platform. We have the health. I think the health side of things is going to be really exciting and really cool. We've got a lot of guests coming in to help us with some of the health stuff.
That's something really close to my heart as well, the health side of things. I love taking a holistic approach to health. I think it could really transform a lot of hairstylists and barbers' lives. It's something that we sort of skim over in this industry, I feel.
If you look at us as an industry, we're so unhealthy. Like as a society, we're pretty unhealthy anyway. But like as an industry,
get down to the micro
we're so
industry.
Unhealthy.
Wow.
Like just looking around at our team, like, and this is not to shit on anybody, but like who looks after themselves, like in terms of like posture, getting treatments done. Like I carried a little bit of that over from cycling, and I still don't even really do it that much. But I get posture correction kind of treatment, needling, stuff like that. So I think, look, underneath the health banner, we're going to look into all of that. We're going to look at nutrition, help people with their nutrition, breath work and meditation, something that's really important for us as well.
Very powerful.
That's something that I've been doing and delving into a little bit more recently, and really seeing the benefits of it.
I've spent a lot of time in those trenches.
Exactly.
Deep on
and
it for,
it's so beneficial. It's so crazy. Like I don't understand how people aren't doing it, like, but it just makes perfect sense when you break down it technically. It makes perfect sense. So I'm really excited for other barbers to get to know that. And how it's going to maximize and optimize their performance when they're at work. Because that's ultimately what it is.
And that's something that I love that we include in all of our classes: brain optimization. I think we always talk about completing the learning cycle, or completing that what it encompasses. And I always say it in our classes, it's not enough just to learn or take the information. You have to know how to retain it and maximize it. And that comes with brain optimization. There's different things you can do, like Owen just said, with like breath work and meditation. All that stuff will keep the brain clear, but then it's the nutrition that you feed your brain to keep all of those connections going. And then that just makes you a better learner, and in turn makes you a better craftsperson. And then you can be a better teacher if that's what you want to do. Because I always say, after such a long career, there's so much that I've had to remember. I can't do this if I don't remember everything and have quick access to relay it. And part of that is because I try to live in a way where I'm always trying to optimize my mind. Lots of people have told me it's quite extreme the way that I do it. I actually don't think it's extreme.
I don't think so at all,
because I know there's a lot of people that do it way more than I do. But yeah, look, this, I guess proof's in the pudding. If you ever come to a class, sometimes I feel like I go too far into it, but I can articulate things in quite a deep way, which I put that down to just really trying to. I guess part of it is genetic as well, but there's certain strategies that I do use, and I can feel the difference.
Like I've got that. Look, when I was cycling, I used to feed my body appropriately to the exercise I was doing, and I was trying to maximize and optimize my performance then. And it's something that I've let slip over the years, and it's only now I'm becoming conscious of it again. And it actually comes from even just traveling with you as well. Like this year, even when it comes to little micro choices, like things like what are you going to have for breakfast? And like today, for example, like I didn't have breakfast because I know if I eat something, it could potentially cloud my mind. So I'm running right now on some coffee. I had MCT oil in my coffee this morning, and I had some height supplements as well, which are brain functionality. So like I wanted to get the most out of today and be able to have a conversation like this. And
see, that's funny because I'm the
conscious.
Same. I've fasted this morning. So it's ketone energy. So again, that's clarity and brain function. We didn't actually tell each other about that, but
if we were eating, what would we eat? And like you've helped me with that in becoming conscious about that. So like before we did a workshop in Gold Coast, I remember we were having breakfast and we're just looking at the different options on the menu. And I was like, I might get an acai bowl, because I like how the acai bowl tastes, but you're like, nah, I'm going to get the eggs and the avocado. And I was like, oh, why? He's like, just better for the brain.
Fats for the brain.
Fats for the brain. And I was like, fucking hell. Like, that's how I should be thinking about it.
But it's so funny when, you go out with your girlfriend or you go out with people and they're like taking forever to pick, Oh, they're choosing to their senses, they're, what am I going to like? What do I want right now? What flavors? It's tuning into those senses, whereas I don't pick food like that. Sometimes I do, obviously, like if
to
I'm
enjoy
just
it,
going on a bit of a meal out, whatever, I'm like, that sounds so good.
100%.
But most
100%.
of the, I'd say 80 to 90% of the time, I'm eating in a way which I'm trying to maximize the benefits of that nutrition. Like now, fasted, running on ketone energy. I'm trying to have clarity. I want to be able to say everything that I want to say and recall everything that I want to say, you know.
And it's like, I remember the first time you gave me the bulletproof coffee at one of our workshops. And it's not like something, it's not like you get an instant buzz from it. Like, it's not like something that you really feel. But at the end of the day, you came up to me and said something like, "Oh, did you feel any different today? Like, you know, did you find you're a bit more clear and you could actually articulate and explain and answer questions that people are asking?"
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, when I think about it now, it's like, I was on today. Like, I was there.
And I was
ahead, like, you know.
You're just on fire, you know, or like just that recollection's amazing, you know. You can just facts come out. You the way you speak is clear and fluid, and
So just tapping into that alone is just massive. I think in our industry, a lot of the time we're all so tired from just working so hard that you let things slip. And like, I'm so guilty of it. Like, I'm not claiming to be any expert.
We're all guilty of it.
I'll just go for whatever is easiest at the time sometimes. And like, that's fine. But like, from a performance standpoint, if I know I have to go and do something now, from now on I'm going to be very conscious of what I eat beforehand, because that's going to affect my performance. It's like putting fuel in a car. It's like, you can't put like diesel in an unleaded car and expect it to fucking run. It's the same thing. It's like, like, look, the other health benefits too is like anxiety and stress and stuff like that. I think
100%.
being able to overcome that. You know, I don't know if you've seen what's on the table, but we have a few partners of the podcast. One of them is the CBD. This helps. It's definitely not something that's going to cure it, but it will help with it. But like, I haven't had any of it today. I will have it from time to time if I go home after the work, feeling a bit sore, want to kind of like rest, go to sleep, get a nice sleep. It might be something that's just in my head, but like, if I have a couple of drops, then it helps.
Get back to that, you know, the anxiety thing. The combination of caffeine and sugar is ridiculous for that. So bad for that. And you'll find a lot of people started with the high carb breakfast, you know, the acai bowl or the toast or the peanut butter on toast, whatever. I mean, that's got a little bit of fats in it, but it's mainly carbohydrates and sugar. Combine that with some caffeine. It's going to be a rocky ride for the morning. You're going to get extreme high. You're going to get to work absolutely buzzing. You can see it in our shop sometimes. You know, you get in the morning and the music's going and we're all hyped up, and at 9 o'clock everyone's on a buzz and then it's like 10:30 comes and everyone's like, oh, I'm knackered. Oh, why am I so tired? You know, and that all the nutritional strategies can help that.
Yeah, for sure. So that's one side of the platform that we're going to be digging into, is the health. What else do we have? So we've covered education, community, media, business, health, personal development. That's the next one. Personal development is going to be things such as routines, habit forming, goal setting, optimization, pretty much transformation, looking at people's schedules, trying to figure out, like, you know, the personal development side can even kind of branch off into like one-on-one mentorship, or kind of people can come to us and ask, you know, you might get exclusive access to like voice messaging apps or something like that with us, where we kind of help you through some stuff. But
developing the mindset as well, for sure. You know,
personal
I guess
development
like
is mindset.
we share a similar mindset, fortunately, but again, it's not to say it's right. You know, this is what's worked for us, and if you want an insight into that, we can show you everything. I'm not going to hold it back from you. You know, there are certain things that a lot of this. I mean, we've spoken about this so many times off camera, but there's a lot of habitual things that come from when you're a kid. You know, a lot of the stuff that I do, I think about, you know, back to even like how my parents are, and I think, that's where I get that from. Some of it's a blessing, some of it's a curse, you know. But you know, sometimes people can't be changed, and I don't think they should be changed.
No.
But if you want to, and you've got the awareness and you've got the drive to do it, we could definitely help you with that that stuff and share just some of the stuff that works for us.
Yeah, and I think like that's the beauty of the platform, and like the network is going to be, it's optional, you know, it's going to be there. If you want to use it, you can use it. There's no structure to it in terms of like point A, B, C, D, whatever. There's no, you don't have
this
to
is
just
the blueprint for life.
No, you can just take what you need and add it into what you already do, and it's going to be beneficial by itself. I think those are the 7 pillars, to be honest. Is that 7? I think it's
so 7. We had the personal development.
I think
I should have had some more fats in my breakfast this morning to remember.
No, I think, to be honest, that's it. You know, I think that's what that kind of covers the majority of what the platform's going to be about. Of course, hair is our medium, so it's going to be, the majority of it's going to be based around what we do in our lives as hairstylists. So that's going to be the main form of content. You know, weekly content every week on a Saturday or a Sunday. That's what we'll aim for. We want people to be able to study or to look through haircuts and get inspiration while they're on their weekends, they're having time off work, to be able to come back to work with a new lease of life, even to be able to do it while you're at work, you know, like I think that's really important too, just be able to tune in, check out some of our tutorials and kind of just go from there. It's very exciting. I'm very, very excited about the whole thing.
I can't wait.
It's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work, but again, it's worth it.
That's part of the learning curve, though, isn't it? You know, for us, we're always learning. And that's the exciting thing about these things as well. We're always learning as we go. So, just to talk about a few of the people who have been kind enough to partner with us on the podcast. We already mentioned CBD Culture, so we have CBD Culture. John from there is going to help us out. We'll definitely delve into that a little bit more on the network, on the podcast, not just the podcast but the website. Tapped by Hatch, digital business card company. Got some cool stuff coming with them soon, so just keep an eye on our socials. That blew my mind. When I first saw those, mind blown.
So incredible. we will definitely be sharing more information about that stuff very soon. And the Jack Reed Foundation, we've done some work for these guys throughout the year. We've collaborated with them on 3 different events. So we did our launch party / reconnect event in Melbourne in January, and we did Brisbane after that.
Brisbane was
second. Went to Brisbane. Reconnect, brought everybody together in Brisbane and also in Sydney. So like we got local artists from around the area to kind of come, put together a little bit of a show. It was somewhat educational, somewhat fun, all to raise money for the Jack Reed Foundation. So the Jack Reed Foundation is an initiative that's set up by Danielle, Teresa, and Colette works with them as well on building up just a great initiative and great cause.
It's a great foundation.
And it's hair based, and it works well for us because look, it's educational, and I've known the guys for a while, and we've just been looking at ways and how we can collaborate, and even what we're going to do for memberships for the first month of the platform is like we're going to work something out where if you come to us through their site, you might get some sort of discount, and that discount is then given to them as a donation or
straight back.
We haven't figured out the logistics of that just yet, but we're working a way in which we can give back with this as well.
Amazing.
Dates. Should we talk about dates?
Let's talk about it.
I like to put dates on things, like given that there's no more lockdowns and there's nothing going to stop us from our next plan of action. We're looking at putting this podcast out on the 9th of August, so that's going to be next week. And then from there, that's when the marketing campaign is going to start. We're going to start just putting some stuff out about the platform, some more information, and then we're going to do a pre-launch. So the pre-launch is going to give people an opportunity to jump on the platform for free for a couple of weeks before the actual launch. It's going to be limited space, so they're going to be, I don't know, X amount, 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 places where people can come in for free, test out the website, give us some feedback, crucial feedback which we need, Within each of the resources, we might just give access to X amount, like we might give 1 video, 2 videos from each pillar, and just get some feedback. And then by joining the pre-launch, you're going to get access to lives, to different BTS things. It's going to replicate the membership essentially. And then a couple of weeks later,
enough.
The pre-launch is cool.
That would excite me.
The pre-launch is cool. And then the full launch is looking at September time, roughly around the time of our birthday in September. Yeah. I think that's a good date to put it out.
That'd be a great release time.
So look, we have a lot to do in the meantime before then. I hope today's podcast gave you guys a little bit of a taster as to what's going to be coming from us in the future. We definitely have a lot of topics that we even covered today that we could go way deeper into. And look, I just really want to be as honest as possible throughout this. I've really enjoyed even today's conversation.
That's the thing. We came into this with a bit of a blank slate. We didn't want to script it too much.
No,
and
completely off the cuff.
This is the cool thing, off the cuff. We're just going to be open and honest. I think this is the way, you guys can relate to us as much as possible. It keeps it very personable. And you can just get the most out of us that way. We're trying to break down those barriers of hierarchy and stuff like that. And just show you a little bit into our mindset outside of hair, or in hair and outside of hair. But there's a lot that we think about, outside of it that then comes back into it and makes it what it is. Mm-hmm. Which we always say, whenever I think one of the best chats we had, we were on an aeroplane. You've got nowhere to go. You've got an hour to chat, and it was just like little drops of gold, little bombs going off everywhere, and we were like, we really needed to film that, So hopefully this is what these sessions are going to be like. It's going to be so exciting getting in guests as well. I can't wait to get some guests in, and just go deep on different things, different topics.
And I think some of the guests, they don't all have to be just people in hair.
No,
I think some of our clients, if you think about the hair industry is one of the industries that connects everybody, because our clients are from all aspects of life, all walks of life, all have different experiences, and
most people have a hairdresser, right? Most people have a hairdresser
for the most part. So it's cool to bring people from different industries and get their insights into their industry and just life in general. I think we can all take different bits of information from other people and just add it into what we already do. And I think for me, we always seek information from people that we don't know, and I think it's nice to kind of maybe seek some information from people you do know. Because sometimes we never even uncover them conversations, or we never turn that stone over and open that conversation up. We just small talk people.
Exactly. So
I think I don't want to have small talk.
No, that's the difference between the shop. Sometimes I try not to small talk much at all. But sometimes you just have to,
You going on any holidays soon?
Yeah. It was cold out, isn't it? How's the weather?
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, I hate I'd rather say nothing than talk about the weather, to be honest.
I've got a mate who's in banking. He's a bank manager, and he used to tell me about the trainings he used to go. They have communication training, and they used to tell them, bottom of the barrel, nothing else to talk about, then you talk about the weather.
Yeah,
they said bottom of the barrel, and I've always remembered that. And so I remember that's why I hate it so much, because Joe Blogs will come in and say, "Oh shit, it's cold outside." I would go, "Yeah, no shit, it's winter." It was cold last winter as well, and the one before, and it's probably going to be like that next year. Not trying to be a dick about it, but
true.
That's just how it is. We hear that, you see anywhere between 10 and 15 clients a day, and you don't want to hear that every single time. It kind of wears off after a while. So
100%, 100%, man. So look, thanks to everybody who has listened today. I hope we did all right in our first ever podcast. I feel like it's gone pretty well.
I think it's gone good.
Pretty candid conversations. We're not going to chop this up too much and edit it. I think I like to just roll straight out.
What it is.
Yeah, this is what the conversation was today.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to get from it. So if you have any questions, or you want to request more information about the platform, or you want to reach out, do that. Hit us up on Area Academy on Instagram. It's area_academy. You can email us. You'll find our email there. And stay tuned for the website launch, which won't be far away. If you want to join our mailing list, instructions are there to do that on the website. And we also have set up our Facebook community group in which you can find under Area Academy as well on Facebook. So jump on there. We'll kind of start to, I guess, put out some of the past lives and stuff that we've done on there. And we'll also maybe jump on a few new lives. So exciting times. Consistency in terms of the podcasts. I would hope that we can do this every couple of weeks.
Yeah. Ideally.
Yeah. Look, it just depends on timing. I can't say that it's going to be exactly every 2 weeks or exactly every 3 weeks. I'm thinking around the 3 week mark is nice. Yeah. Every 3 to 4 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. Oh, yeah. 2
to 3?
Yeah, 2 to 3 is good. I like the idea of that. I think that'll probably be
we'll switch
longer
it up
than
too.
We think.
We'll switch it up too. Like we've already had a couple of chats with friends of ours from industry, and we're like, when we come to an industry event, let's just set up a podcast setup, but let's just do it in the room, in the hotel room, or like just who knows where we're going to do it from. So, thanks again for listening, and welcome to the network.